I never thought I'd walk into a crowded restaurant and see my wife sitting on another man's lap, with her dress practically up to her hips, laughing like she didn't have a husband in the world. But that's exactly what happened. The moment the door swung shut behind me, I spotted Brittany, my Brittany, straddling some smug, overconfident jerk right in the center booth. Heads turned. People stared. I felt the blood drain from my face as her hand slid up his chest, bold as hell, while he whispered something in her ear that made her giggle and throw her head back. I stood there frozen, disbelief burning through me. This wasn't some hidden affair or secret rendezvous. Brittany wanted to be seen. Her blonde hair was tousled in that "I don't care" way she always reserved for nights out, and her cherry red lipstick was smudged from, well, I could guess. But what really killed me was the look she shot me when our eyes finally met. No shame. Just a smirk. Like she'd been waiting for this very moment, daring me to do something about it. The whole restaurant went dead silent as she called out, "Oh, hey, Jake. Didn't expect to see you here." Her date just smirked, one arm draped around her waist, the other lifting his whiskey glass to toast me, like I was the joke and he'd already won. I'd suspected she was cheating. The late nights, the hidden phone, the sudden perfume that wasn't for me. But nothing could have prepared me for this kind of public humiliation. I saw Tyler, my best friend, across the bar, his eyes wide, phone out, capturing every second. Brittany clearly didn't care who was watching. She wanted an audience. That's when it hit me, this wasn't an accident. She wanted to destroy me right here, right now, in front of everyone. I felt my fists clench, a storm of rage, betrayal, and, if I'm honest, something sharp and cold, like clarity. She was making a statement. Maybe she thought I'd run out like a coward, let her have her victory. Not a chance. I didn't look away. I strode right up to their table, heart pounding but face blank, every eye in the place locked on us. "You done?" I asked, my voice ice cold. Brittany just grinned, sliding off her date's lap, standing right in front of me, inches from my face. "Depends. Are you finally going to stop pretending you're enough for me?" she shot back, loud enough for everyone to hear. The jerk beside her, Chad, I guessed, laughed, the sound echoing through the restaurant. The world spun. Humiliation. Rage. But I refused to break. "You want a show? Fine. Let's give them one," I said, pulling out my phone and hitting record. "Tell everyone, Brittany. Tell them all how you planned this." She leaned in, voice like poison. "You want the truth, Jake? I haven't cared in years. I'm tired of hiding it. And tonight? I left the house without even bothering to put on underwear." Gasps. Laughter. Whispers. Something inside me snapped. I looked her dead in the eyes. "Enjoy it. Because after tonight, your little games are over." That was the moment everything changed. The night Brittany tried to break me in front of the world, she set something off inside me that couldn't be put back. And as I watched her smirk and turn away, arm in arm with her new prize, I made a promise, to myself and to everyone watching. Brittany wanted drama. She was about to get a storm. My heart hammered in my chest as Brittany and her new lapdog walked past me, arm in arm, like I was nothing more than a random guy she used to know. I stood there for a second, letting the humiliation and white-hot anger carve themselves into memory. The restaurant buzzed back to life around me, people pretending not to stare, waitstaff whispering, some smirking behind their menus. For a split second, I almost walked out. Almost. But something in me refused to just disappear. Brittany wanted a scene? Fine. Let's see how well she really handles it when the tables start turning. I squared my shoulders and followed them out, making sure everyone could see I wasn't going to slink away. Outside, Brittany paused under the glow of a street lamp, her hand still tangled in Chad's jacket. She spun around, that cruel smile never leaving her lips. "What? Jake? Here to beg? I told you, I'm done with you. Go cry to your little friends." I caught the glint in Chad's eye, the kind of look that said he thought he'd already won. I almost laughed. He had no idea who he was dealing with. "I'm not here to beg, Brit," I said, keeping my tone low and cold. "I just want you to be honest for once in your life. You owe me that much." Brittany rolled her eyes and turned away, but I wasn't finished. "How long, Brittany? How many others?" My voice rang out, sharper than I intended. She whipped back around, her face hardening. Chad puffed up like he was going to step in, but I shot him a look that made him hesitate. "This doesn't concern you, pal. Yet." She laughed, mean and shrill. "Oh, you poor thing. Still think you're the only one? Wake up, Jake. You've been boring me for years. I wanted something real for once, a man who knows how to have fun." She leaned into Chad, whispering something that made him grin like an idiot. Every word hit me like a punch, but I held my ground. "Glad to know what you really think. Saves me the trouble of pretending any longer." I let my eyes meet hers, steady. "You think this is a win? All you've done is show everyone who you really are." She scoffed. "You're just jealous. You never satisfied me. Not once." She was almost shouting now, feeding off the attention as a few people lingered nearby, phones out, hungry for more drama. She never cared about privacy or dignity, only about getting what she wanted, no matter who got crushed in the process. That's when I saw Tyler slip out of the restaurant, shaking his head in disbelief, phone still in hand. He caught my eye and mouthed, "You good?" I gave a short nod. Tyler was loyal, always had my back, and I knew he was probably already thinking of ways to help me get ahead of this disaster. Brittany and Chad started to walk away, but I wasn't done. I called after her, "Just remember, Brit, every lie, every secret, it all comes out in the end." She spun around again, her face twisted in a sneer. "You think I care? Do your worst, Jake. You've never had the guts to actually do anything." Something inside me shifted. Maybe she was right, maybe I'd been too soft, too forgiving. But not anymore. "You want to see guts? Fine. Watch closely." With that, I turned on my heel, ignoring her final volley of insults. I could hear her laughing, but this time it didn't sting. Not like before. The cold clarity returned, sharper than ever. I'd spent too long letting her play me. Now, it was my turn. Brittany wanted chaos. She just opened the floodgates, and she had no idea what was coming for her. The air outside was cold, the city lights buzzing as if even the street was mocking me. But I didn't feel small, I felt awake. Brittany's laughter trailed behind me, shrill and hollow. The old me would have stumbled home, gutted and lost, maybe drowned my sorrows in a bottle and called Tyler to vent. But tonight, something had shifted. It was like a circuit flipped. I saw her for what she really was, a selfish, lying snake. And if she wanted a war, she was about to get it. Tyler caught up to me on the corner, out of breath and eyes wild. "Man, what the hell was that?" "She's gone off the rails," he said, shoving his phone into his jacket. "Are you alright?" I nodded, jaw clenched so tight it hurt. "Yeah. More than alright, actually. I'm done playing by her rules." Tyler looked at me, then grinned. He knew me well enough to sense the storm coming. "What's the move?" I took a breath, forcing myself to think logically. "First, I need proof. Real proof. I want her lies in the open, not just for me, but for everyone who thinks she's so innocent." Tyler nodded. "I've got half that confrontation on video already. She didn't exactly hold back." I almost laughed. "Good. I want more. I want her to feel exposed." She wanted drama? Let's go all in. It wasn't about revenge for revenge's sake, it was about taking back control, about making sure I wasn't the guy who just got walked on and humiliated while she lived her best life. Brittany had always loved games. But she'd never played one where I was the opponent. We made a plan, quick and ruthless. Tyler would watch Brittany's socials, track her movements. She was too arrogant to hide what she was doing. Meanwhile, I'd dig into her phone records, the bank statements, anywhere she might have slipped up. I wanted to see the names, the messages, the places she'd gone behind my back. That night, I barely slept. My mind raced, replaying her words, "You never satisfied me." The insult stung, but it didn't break me. If anything, it solidified my resolve. No more being the good guy. No more hoping she'd change. Brittany wanted chaos. I'd show her how it felt. The next day, I hit the gym early, thrashing out every ounce of anger on the bag. Each punch felt like a piece of me coming back together, less of the guy who tolerated her games, more of the man who was ready to take charge of his own story. By midday, I was back at our house, the one I paid for, the one she paraded her lies in, packing a duffel bag with just the essentials. I wasn't running, I was removing myself from her twisted playground. But before I left, I set up a few surprises: security cameras I'd bought weeks ago but never installed, now hidden around the entryway and living room. If she wanted to bring her affairs home, she'd be starring in her own reality show soon enough. Tyler texted me updates, screenshots of Brittany out the next night at a hotel bar, her arm linked with a different guy this time. I felt sick, but it was almost a relief. Every lie she told, every mask she dropped in public, made my decision easier. I drafted my next move: talk to a lawyer. I wasn't going to get dragged into endless drama or let her bleed me dry in a divorce. She wanted freedom. She could have it, but on my terms, and with every ugly truth dragged into the light. I started collecting every receipt, every message, every hint of her double life. Later, Tyler called, voice urgent. "Jake, you gotta see this, she just posted a story, bragging about her new man and trashing you. She thinks she's untouchable." I grinned. Good. The more rope she gives herself, the harder she'll fall. I felt lighter already. I was done playing the victim. Brittany might have started this war, but I was going to finish it. I waited for the perfect moment to strike. Brittany had no clue I was onto her game. She was too busy flaunting her new freedom online, thinking she'd finally broken me. My phone was blowing up with texts from friends and even her own sister, Nicole, who had seen Brittany's latest posts. Nicole was furious, embarrassed for our family, and she wanted nothing to do with her sister's drama. That made it easier for me to move forward without second-guessing myself. Brittany had burned her own bridges, and she was too drunk on attention to notice. By the time Sunday night rolled around, I had everything I needed: screenshots of Brittany's public humiliation, messages she'd sent to half a dozen men, receipts for expensive dinners charged to our joint account, and video clips from the night at the restaurant, every moment of her making a spectacle out of herself and, by extension, me. Tyler helped me organize it all in a neat folder on a USB stick. "You're really going to do this?" he asked, handing it over. "Oh, I'm just getting started," I said, my voice colder than I recognized. Brittany came home late, as usual, her heels clacking through the foyer. I waited in the living room, lights low, her phone pinging with notifications. She didn't even glance at me at first, she was too busy texting someone. I cleared my throat and she looked up, rolling her eyes. "What, Jake? You still here?" I kept my voice calm. "Sit down, Brittany. We need to talk." She scoffed, tossing her purse onto the couch, but she sat anyway, legs crossed, arms folded, her face set in a scowl. "I'm not in the mood for another guilt trip," she snapped. "No guilt trips," I said, sliding the USB stick across the table. "Just the truth. Everything you've been up to, the messages, the nights out, the lies. You want to act single? That's fine. But don't expect me to sit back and let you wreck my life." She stared at the USB like it was a snake, her confidence faltering for the first time. "What's that supposed to be?" "It's everything. Proof. I know about Chad. About Trevor. About all the guys you've been entertaining behind my back. I know about the money, the nights you said you were working late. I've got it all, Brittany. And so does my lawyer. Her mouth twisted into a sneer, but there was fear behind her eyes now. So what, Jake? You want to play dirty? Go ahead. I don't care. Everyone knows you're a boring loser, anyway. I need a real man, not a doormat. I laughed, a cold, empty sound. You're about to find out just how much of a doormat I'm not. I'm done supporting you. I'm done letting you trash my name while you parade around town. You want out? Fine. But you're leaving with nothing but your designer bags and your little Instagram fans. The house is mine, the car is mine, and by the time this is over, everyone's going to see who you really are. She stood up, voice shaking. You can't do this. I'll ruin you, Jake. You'll regret this. I met her glare, calm and steady. Try me, Brittany. You wanted to make me the villain? Be careful, you might just get your wish. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. I felt a weight lift. For the first time in months, I was in control. The fear, the humiliation, the shame, gone. I was done letting her set the rules. This was my life, my story now. I called Tyler, voice steady for the first time in ages. It's done. She knows. He let out a low whistle. Man, you really did it. What now? Now? I said, feeling something like hope flicker in my chest. Now, I finish what she started. I barely slept that night, but I didn't feel tired. I felt sharp, alive in a way I hadn't been in years. The next morning, Brittany tried to act like nothing had happened. She strolled into the kitchen in one of her silk robes, her hair perfectly styled, and poured herself a coffee like she was still queen of the castle. She didn't even look at me at first, but I could see her hands trembling slightly. That mask of confidence was slipping, and it was only a matter of time before it cracked completely. You really think you can just erase me, Jake? She finally spat, not even bothering with a greeting. You think people are going to believe your little folder of screenshots over me? I'll tell everyone you're controlling, abusive, that you stalked me for months. Watch how fast your precious friends turn on you. I set my cup down, meeting her gaze. Go ahead. Tell your story, Britt. I've got receipts, timestamps, videos, and witnesses. You want to play dirty? You'll lose. She tried to laugh, but it came out forced and brittle. You never had any backbone. You just think you do now because you finally grew a pair and found a lawyer. She shot me a death glare, then stormed upstairs, slamming the door hard enough to make the whole house shake. I texted Tyler. She's rattled. She's going to try something. Keep an eye on her socials. He replied a second later, already on it. She's DMing everyone, looks like she's trying to spin it, calling you crazy and controlling. Bro, people aren't buying it. Comments are turning on her. A sick satisfaction washed over me. For years, she'd made me feel small, constantly twisting reality, making me doubt myself, convincing everyone she was the perfect wife while she was out chasing thrills with any guy who gave her attention. Now the mask was off, and people were finally seeing what I'd lived with. I called my lawyer, Mr. Hoffman, and we went over the next steps. With this evidence, Jake, you're in a strong position. She's not getting alimony, and she can't take the house. I'd suggest changing the locks and freezing the joint accounts. Move fast, she's going to come at you hard. I hung up and got to work. I called the bank, explained the situation, and froze every shared credit card. I scheduled a locksmith for that afternoon. Then I started boxing up everything that was mine, photos, old gifts, every trace of what I thought was a happy marriage. By noon, the front hallway was stacked with boxes and bags. It felt like shedding dead weight. That afternoon, Brittany came barreling down the stairs, phone pressed to her ear, shouting at someone, probably one of her simps, or maybe her mother, who always believed Brittany could do no wrong. She stopped cold when she saw the boxes and the locksmith drilling out the front door. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" she shrieked. I didn't flinch. Making sure you can't sneak in your boyfriends anymore. This is my house now. You want your stuff? Call me. Otherwise, stay out. She exploded, hurling insults and threats, but the neighbors were already peeking through their blinds, watching the circus. For once, I didn't care. You're nothing without me, she screamed as I handed her a box of her things. Funny, I said quietly, I think I just found out who I really am without you. She stormed off, heels stabbing the pavement, screaming into her phone. I closed the door behind her, locked it, and leaned against the wall. For the first time in a long time, I felt safe in my own home. Tyler texted again. She's trying to crash at Trevor's place. He just posted a story, she's drunk, ranting about you. Dude, you broke her. I smiled. Let her rant. I'm done being her punching bag. Time for her to find out what life's really like without me cleaning up her messes. The war wasn't over, but for the first time, it felt like I was winning. Brittany's meltdown was spectacular. Over the next week, she unleashed every dirty trick she had left. She started a smear campaign online, flooding her Instagram with teary videos and dramatic posts claiming I'd abandoned her and left her with nothing. She DM'd all our mutual friends, fishing for sympathy. Most ignored her, a few sent me screenshots, and some even blocked her outright. For years, she'd played the victim, always angling for attention and getting people to take her side. But this time, with the receipts out there, the tide turned fast. I focused on cleaning up the mess she'd left in her wake. The first night she was gone, I sat alone in my kitchen and actually enjoyed the quiet. No screaming, no drama, just the faint hum of the refrigerator and my own thoughts. I started reclaiming the house, room by room. Her clothes went into boxes. Her makeup off the bathroom counter. Photos of us, torn from frames, tossed in a drawer. I bought new sheets, changed the Netflix password, and for the first time in years, slept straight through the night. Tyler stopped by almost every evening to check in, sometimes bringing pizza, sometimes just his steady presence. Man, you look 10 years younger already, he said one night, sipping a beer on my porch. You ever think you'd actually do it? I shook my head. Honestly, I thought I'd go down with the ship. But now? Feels like I'm finally breathing again. We both laughed, and for the first time, the laughter felt real, not forced or strained by the tension Brittany used to bring with her. It was like her absence vacuumed the poison right out of the air. Meanwhile, Brittany kept flailing. She tried moving in with Trevor, her latest flavor of the month, but apparently, he wasn't as into playing house as she hoped. Tyler sent me a video, Brittany drunkenly yelling in a parking lot, Trevor's roommate filming from their window. You said I'd be your queen, she screamed as Trevor slammed the door in her face. Comments under the video were brutal. People weren't buying her poor me act anymore. The mask had slipped, and everyone saw what I'd been dealing with for years. Her family reached out once, her mother leaving a rambling voicemail blaming me for corrupting her little girl. I deleted it without listening to the end. Nicole, on the other hand, sent a simple text, "You did the right thing. Don't let her drag you down with her." I filed for divorce the next day. My lawyer was swift and merciless. With the evidence I'd collected, Brittany didn't have a leg to stand on. No alimony, no claim to the house, not even the car she used for her girls' nights out. Every account was locked down, every loose end tied up. The relief was so strong it almost made me dizzy. I started hitting the gym harder, running farther, lifting heavier. The anger that had once eaten me alive now fueled something else, determination. Tyler convinced me to join him and some friends at a local bar for trivia night. At first, it felt weird, like I was betraying some invisible pact by having fun again. But by the end of the night, laughing with friends, I realized I was starting to let go of the bitterness. Brittany's calls and texts grew less frequent, each one nastier than the last. I blocked her on everything. It wasn't my job to fix her mess anymore. She was a hurricane, but I'd finally built walls strong enough to withstand her chaos. One night, I stood in the middle of my living room, just breathing in the silence. No lies, no drama, just me and my own space. I realized I wasn't just surviving. I was starting to actually live. But there was one last thing I needed to do: finish things for good, on my terms. The final showdown was almost anticlimactic, but I needed it, one last moment to make things clear, to close the door Brittany had been slamming in my face for years. It happened on a Thursday, late afternoon. The sun was setting, casting long shadows through my freshly cleaned living room. I was packing up the last of her boxes when the doorbell rang. Part of me hoped it would be Tyler or even Nicole, coming by to help. But I knew better. When I opened the door, Brittany stood on the porch, sunglasses hiding her bloodshot eyes, her hair a mess for the first time in as long as I could remember. She tried to saunter in like she still owned the place, but I blocked her. "You're not coming inside, Brittany. You want your things, they're right here." I gestured to the boxes on the porch, neatly labeled, every trace of her chaos contained. She yanked off her sunglasses, trying to muster that old venom, but her voice was tired, desperate. "Jake, you don't have to do this. We can talk. Just let me explain." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, all the pain she'd caused me boiling down to a calm, steady resolve. "Explain what?" "How you trashed our marriage, humiliated me in public, tried to ruin me online." "No, Britt, I think I finally get it. I just want you gone, for good this time." She scoffed, her lips curled in a sneer, but there was no fire behind it. "You think you're some kind of hero now? Everyone's just laughing at you, Jake. You're a joke." I shrugged. "Maybe. But I'm a free joke. And I'll take that over being your doormat any day." She opened her mouth to lash out again, but I stopped her. "Look, just take your stuff and go. Whatever we had is done. You burned it to the ground, and I'm not picking through the ashes anymore." I handed her the final box, the one labeled Memories, filled with old photos and keepsakes that now felt like relics of another life. She took it, hands shaking, eyes wet with tears that didn't move me anymore. "Was it really that bad?" she whispered, and for a split second, I almost saw the girl I fell in love with all those years ago. But then I remembered everything, the lies, the humiliation, the way she tried to twist reality to make me the villain. I shook my head, feeling nothing but relief. "It was worse," I said quietly. "But it's over now. You don't get to rewrite the ending." She stood there, lost, for a moment longer before finally turning away. As she walked down the steps, dragging her boxes, I felt a strange mix of exhaustion and freedom. I didn't watch her go. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned back against the wood, feeling a weight lift that I'd carried for years. That night, Nicole called. "She's gone," she said. "You did what none of us could. You stood up to her." It wasn't easy, I admitted, but it was the only way. I couldn't let her keep ruining my life. "Thanks for backing me up." Nicole was silent for a moment, then said, "You deserve better, Jake. You always did." I sat in the quiet, finally at peace. There was no gloating, no sense of victory, just a clean slate. My home was mine again. My life was mine again. No more drama, no more mind games. Later, I walked through each room, letting the silence settle. For the first time, the emptiness didn't feel lonely, it felt like possibility. I poured myself a drink, raised a toast to nobody in particular, and promised myself never to let someone like Brittany take that away from me again. Tomorrow would be a new day. And for the first time in years, I was actually looking forward to it. A week after Brittany left for good, I woke up to sunlight spilling across my bed, my own bed. It was quiet, peaceful, and I realized I no longer expected drama to come storming through the door. The air itself felt lighter, as if the whole house had finally exhaled. For the first time in years, I wasn't anxious, angry, or waiting for the next fight. I was just me. I took the day slow, made my own breakfast, and took my coffee out to the porch, something I'd never done when Brittany was around. She hated the smell of the city in the morning, said it ruined her makeup. I watched people go by, ordinary lives unfolding, and felt strangely grateful to be part of that normal world again. The phone buzzed, but I ignored it. No drama, no endless arguing, just silence, and the possibility of starting over. Over the next few days, I started piecing my life back together. I reconnected with old friends I'd neglected because Brittany always complained about them. I took Tyler out for beers to thank him for everything. We laughed about the insanity, replaying the worst moments like battle scars, but underneath the jokes was real relief. "You survived her, man," Tyler said, shaking his head. "You're unstoppable now." Nicole checked in, too, her way more direct. "Promise me you'll never let someone like her in again," she said. "Don't let a pretty face talk you into hell." I promised. I meant it. The paperwork came through quickly, divorce finalized, my account secure, my name the only one on the house. No more battles, no more threats. I started bringing little changes into my life. I bought a dog. I painted the walls in colors Brittany always hated. I started hitting the gym, not out of anger this time, but because it felt good. My appetite came back. So did my sleep. Looking back, I could finally see the warning signs for what they were. All the late nights, the lies, the endless games, none of it was my fault. I wasn't too boring, or not enough, for her. Brittany would have wrecked anyone who tried to love her. She thrived on chaos, on making other people feel small so she could feel powerful. If there's one thing I'd tell any guy stuck in the same hell I lived through, it's this: don't wait for her to save you, or for things to magically get better. She won't change. She doesn't care. The sooner you put yourself first, the sooner you get your life back. Stop believing her lies, about you, about your worth, about what you owe her. Take back control, even if it feels impossible. Get proof, get a lawyer, get your friends behind you. Cut her off before she cuts deeper. People will try to tell you it's just a rough patch, that you should fight for your marriage. But sometimes, the only way to win is to walk away, and walking away is the bravest thing you'll ever do. I don't hate Brittany, not anymore. I pity her. She'll never know real loyalty, real trust, or peace. Her life will always be an endless chase for the next high, the next sucker to clean up her mess. I wish her luck, but I don't wish her back. These days, my world is smaller, but it's mine. I'm building something new, with friends who matter, and no one left to lie to me or tear me down. The scars are still there, but they don't hurt like they used to. They're just proof that I survived, that I'm not the victim she wanted me to be. So if you're reading this, stuck in your own nightmare, hear me: you are stronger than you think. And you are absolutely not alone. Get out. Take your life back. One day you'll wake up like I did, in a house that finally feels like home, and realize the only thing you ever needed was to choose yourself. This is where my story ends, but yours is just beginning.